So a couple of weeks ago, we were able to see the Halo Infinite technical preview, and this allowed us to get a much better idea of the kind of AI we would be seeing in not just the multiplayer, but also the campaign. Now, while a lot of people, myself included, were genuinely surprised with how good some of the AI can be, I have to say, it got me really excited for what we're going to be seeing in the campaign. I think it's going to be brought to the next level. We're going to see challenging AI that knows how to strafe, throw grenades properly, and something that makes the campaign and overall Halo combat loop very different. Welcome everyone, I'm Kiv, your favorite degenerate, and today let's talk about that and how it all is going to be changing Halo Infinite a hell of a lot. So let's start at the beginning. When Halo CE first came out, it set the tone as a very different kind of shooter. You were actually in a first-person perspective, and you weren't just fighting against bad guys or Nazis or something like that. Instead, you were fighting against the Covenant, a mysterious alliance of aliens. There were a couple of other things that made it stand out, but to me, in my first playthrough of Combat Evolved, I distinctively remember thinking, holy crap, these elites are slippery bastards. And that's the honest truth, because the elites try to strafe and dodge every single bullet that you fire at them. Even if you've weakened them a crap ton, they'll run away and get behind cover. They react to what you do, and on top of that, they try to catch you off guard, like you actually feel as if you're in danger. The AI was just so smart, but unfortunately, all good things must come to an end. Because over time, what ended up happening is that the hardware was having to be pushed further and further to the edge as the games needed to be better graphically with each installment. I may have oversimplified a couple of things there, but to the best of my understanding, that's how it went down. Because by the time Halo 4 came around, on the hardware that it was running, it was a good-looking game. But in my opinion, the original Xbox, like ancient hardware, all things considered, they were still able to provide better enemies than what we came across in Halo 4. For me, I love facing the elites in Halo campaigns, but Halo 4's campaign, the elites are just butchered. They are so terrible compared to Combat Evolved. They barely dodge or weave. They will only do one sidestep to the left when you are almost about to kill them, and that is about it. But when you compare those elites to what you see in Combat Evolved, it's an entirely different spectrum. Like, the elites in Combat Evolved, they know the 5 Ds of dodgeball. Those elites were like dodgeball champions. They could properly dodge and weave, and this is just a small minor point, but you don't see them as often in Halo 4. In Halo 4, you don't really encounter that many, and that hurts the game, because you don't have them there to provide a bit more of a challenge. You're going through a glorified shooting range, just, walking through grunts and jackals at that point, and without anything to provide you with more of a challenge, you just feel more bored. Because to be honest with you all, there's no challenge in taking down grunts and jackals, and having difficult enemies to face is important. Now, I know I've complicated things a little bit by talking about game difficulty, because you could make the argument that any Halo campaign has challenging AI if you put it on legendary difficulty. But what I'm mostly talking about is the fighting ability of the AI, because certain campaigns are always going to be a nightmare to go through. Like, just look at Halo 2's Jackal Snipers if you want any better of an example. On Legendary, those things can drop you like a sack of potatoes. Well, what I'm trying to say is that I actually want there to be a solution when you're fighting a tough enemy. You know what I mean? You want to be able to problem solve in the game, and that's where proper game design comes in. You cannot just increase the difficulty, make them have laser aiming, and call that challenging. That's absolute bullshit. That's getting crapped on by a computer. What you want to do is you want to make the player think and problem solve and actually use what they have in front of them to actually beat the challenges that you're setting for them. And from the looks of it, 343 has noticed that as well. We have seen rumors of all of this happening behind the scenes because of Joe's post a couple of months ago now. Oh shit, that's actually ages ago now. But his post about the hunters that he came across in the Halo Infinite campaign. And if you're watching this video, it's very likely that you already know what I'm about to say. The idea that the hunters required more than just the usual set of dance moves. Not being able to just kind of cheese your way through it with the same tricks that we've been using since the original Halo. And that's different, that's good, and that's exactly what we want to see. Now, just to make one thing clear here, I don't really want to talk about Halo 5 because it is a completely different animal. Halo 5 has squad-based mechanics. You've got a team of Spartans the entire time, and they can revive you, so challenge in that game is basically non-existent. You either get one-shotted by Warden Eternal, or you get overwhelmed by a huge number of enemies and you get revived. There's not really much in between. But onto something that I do want to talk about, Halo Infinite and its hardware, because earlier this video I was just mentioning before how hardware can limit what you can do, because if you're going to have nice graphics and spend a lot of time making sure it all looks very good, then well, is that going to affect the AI? Because Halo Infinite has had a problem with graphics. It's been notorious, that's why it got delayed. It was one of the most significant reasons why. But with the improvements to the graphics, does that mean that we are no longer going to be getting smarter AI? I don't think so. I think that's where the Slipspace engine comes in that they have been creating. I think that's going to make sure that the game is well optimized, and if they've done their job well in the background, then it shouldn't have a huge impact on the game. We did see from last year's reveal a good amount of elites and brutes, so not really any red flags in my books, but it would be nice to see some really cool set pieces where you've got just a huge amount of brutes and banished taking on, a lot of UNSC and Marines. So I am very excited to see more campaign gameplay, and according to Joe Staten, we will be seeing much more over the next few months as they start getting closer and closer to the game's release. Now, as far as campaign AI, I think we will definitely be seeing a return to form. We have been hinted at that there is still essence of the combat evolved code in Halo Infinite, and also from what we saw in the multiplayer technical preview, bots can strafe and dodge and throw grenades really effectively, and I think that's going to make the combat loop much more immersive and much more fun to play through yet again. So I'm really excited, honestly. Now, obviously, there are some things that I just can't comment on until I've actually seen them in-game. Things like the boss battles and being able to take down the members of the Hand of Atriox, or other things like having large-scale battles in the game. Now, this is my own kind of pipe dream fantasy of what I want in a Halo campaign, but I've always wanted to have that moment from Tip of the Spear just play out in-game, just having an army of UNSC versus, I guess, in this case, an army of Banished. I think that would be absolutely unreal to play through in a first-person shooter. I honestly would love to have something like that in this campaign. But who knows? With that probably being a sign of me going a little bit onto rambling and ranting, I think we should probably call it at that for today. So thank you for watching the video right to the end. I do appreciate it, and let me know what you think about all of this in the comment section down below. If you haven't already, please subscribe so that way I can hit 1K before Halo Infinite drops. That would be the best present I could ever have, and I'll never ask for anything ever again. But that's pretty much about it from me, guys. So I've been Kiv, and I'll see you all on the next one.